Now on KGW News at noon, heading into Memorial Day weekend, we're taking a look at how busy things will get on the road and in the air. Plus, if you live in Portland, you may see your water and sewer bill increase. City officials say it is absolutely necessary in order to keep your water clean and safe. And later.
It's about getting people out into this beautiful area and getting on the water and becoming part of what is out there.
We're checking out a place in Tillamook County that has a lot to offer: kayaking, wildlife, and beautiful scenery. It's all part of this week's Grants Getaways. KGW News at noon starts right now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Drew Carney, and we start this afternoon with breaking news in Boston, where just a few hours ago, a federal judge blocked the Trump administration from revoking Harvard University's ability to enroll foreign students. A few hours before the judge's decision, Harvard had filed a lawsuit saying the attempted move by the administration against the Ivy League school was a violation of the First Amendment. So today's ruling grants a temporary restraining order that freezes the ban on enrolling foreign students at Harvard, a ban the Trump administration had just announced yesterday. The next hearing on this will take place next week. In local news this afternoon, the union representing about 800 workers across Portland city government reached a tentative agreement with the city to avoid a strike. Union members voted overwhelmingly yesterday to authorize a strike, but after 11 hours of mediation, the two sides agreed to terms and called the strike off. Neither side released details of the agreement. All right, we're talking travel now as we head into Memorial Day weekend. According to AAA, millions of Americans will hit the road for the holiday weekend, and that includes more than 500,000 people from Oregon. That would be, by the way, the highest number of Oregon drivers on the road for Memorial Day since AAA started tracking these numbers 25 years ago. Travel chaos at Newark Airport in New Jersey this week prompted the FAA to restrict how many planes could take off and land there, but people we talked to here at the Portland airport seem to be dealing with the expected holiday weekend rush just fine.
Not concerned about getting on a plane, but glad we're not landing in that whole New York Metroplex area.
Coming in midday has been fabulous. It's super easy to get in. You can hear a little bit of construction going on, but for the most part, the gates are open and easy, and so far so good.
That's one person's advice. Try to schedule a midday landing here in Portland. Roughly 200,000 people are expected to travel through Portland's airport over the next few days. Right now, we're going to take a live look at some of the major roadways around the area. We've got Chris McGinnis handling some traffic reporting and some weather forecasting for us this afternoon. So, Chris, you want to go traffic first here, weather second?
We can do that. Hey, question for you, by the way, as we're looking at those traffic cameras. Where do you suppose the busiest traffic monitor, as in those little meters that measure the traffic volume around the state, where do you suppose the busiest Oregon freeway is? What section and what freeway? I
think it's the section near I-5 right by the In-N-Out Burger in Kaiser.
You have personal experience with that, I imagine.
Am I not right?
Close. I was going to go with Interstate 84 near 33rd Avenue there, so you can put that in your cap.
That's a busy spot too.
Yeah, it is. So I just looked this up, by the way. 170,886 vehicles per day.
Wow.
Per the 2023 ODOT vehicle traffic counts on Interstate 84. I-205 just north of I-84. A close second, nearly 169,000.
Yeah, I don't think the In-N-Out Burger line is that big.
No, probably not. I don't know if they could feed that many people in that short a time, right? But I thought I would point out that as lots of folks hit the road, some of the busiest areas outside the metro include US 101 through Coos Bay. If you've ever traveled along the coastal highway, obviously that can be slow. Through the Bend area, Central Oregon, booming population has been over the last decade or so. And average traffic volume on US 97 through Bend is up over 55,000. And again, through Eugene, Medford, and Salem, obviously I-5 traffic can be pretty stout, right? All right, here we go. Right now, 62 degrees. Last check at PDX. The readings across the region, upper 50s in Hillsborough, King City checking in with 60. 63 out towards Baker City, John Day, and Burns. Our plan for the rest of the day, are you liking the sunshine? Good. We keep it. Temperatures inching into the 70s for the first time in 12 days. And it gets warmer from here as we go into the weekend. Drew, I'm also tracking that Memorial Day Monday rain chance. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Chris. Another update for you here this afternoon. The Oregon Department of Human Services says the 15-year-old boy who went missing this week from Portland's OHSU hospital has been found. Police are giving community support credit for finding him. Not a lot of other details were given on this case because Shoup is a minor. He was first reported missing yesterday afternoon. We've also been tracking the cases of two missing 81-year-old women this week. These are separate cases, but both women are from the Portland area and both are still missing. Joan Ivan, we start with her. She went missing last weekend. Police say she was spotted in downtown Portland at the library earlier this week, but when officers got there, Joan was no longer there. Investigators say she has dementia and is known to frequent Dawson Park in North Portland and the nearby New Season store in that neighborhood. Meanwhile, 81-year-old Judy Roberts from West Lynn is also still missing. She was driving a white 2017 Volkswagen Jetta, license plate 501JYP, when she disappeared last Friday. It also has a unique bumper sticker that says, "I Heart Ojai." Judy's daughter tells us her mother was spotted 3 times last Friday along the Oregon coast. The third sighting happened in Winchester Bay. That's between Florence and Coos Bay. She was also spotted last Friday in Florence and in Lincoln City. Portland police told us that trying to find older adults who may have cognitive challenges can present its own unique set of challenges.
The strategy really is, depending on the case, we will do a grid search. We will put police officers in the neighborhood, especially if they're on foot, and we'll check to see if they're just around the block or maybe just down the block.
When we talked to Portland police, they also suggested these things to help keep your older loved ones safe. They say you can track them through a cell phone or a watch. Definitely have recent pictures of them on hand. And they said, of course, you always want to check on them regularly. All right, starting this summer, Portland residents will pay more for their water and sewer bills. City councilors passed the increase in an 11-1 decision during Wednesday's Marathon City Council meeting. KGW's John Adams has the details.
The ordinance is passed with 11 yes votes and 1 no.
Running your tap in the city of Portland will cost you more money. A 6.3% combined water and sewer increase will start showing up on customers' bills in either July or August, depending on your billing cycle.
When customers open their tap, we want to deliver clean, safe drinking water.
Priya Danapal, Deputy City Administrator for Public Works, tells us the city would be falling behind on upkeep to the system and would have trouble meeting federal and state regulations if the increase wasn't passed. Also on the way, a 2.9% processing fee for people who use a debit or credit card to pay their bill.
We've been absorbing the cost for the credit card and debit card transaction fees over the years, and that's added up to millions of dollars. And ultimately, it's the ratepayers who are absorbing those costs.
Those paying with cash or a checking account won't have to pay that fee.
I know that all of our families are really struggling, and any increase right now is difficult.
But Portland City Council President Alana Pertle-Guiney, who voted in favor of the rate increase, says it's needed despite the hardship it may cause.
These are increases that allow us to meet the needs of our utility systems. And when we put those increases off, we see exponentially larger increases later.
One more note here to John's report. A representative from Public Works tells us the average water and sewer bill in the city of Portland is about $140, so this rate increase will add between $8 and $9 to the average bill. We're also following up on the deadly small plane crash in San Diego yesterday that killed all 6 people on board. It also forced the residents in a nearby military housing neighborhood to run from their homes. Our news partners at NBC have the latest.
Well, hey there, it was a terrifying scene here. This plane originated at Teterboro Airport in New Jersey before briefly stopping in Kansas City to refuel and then continuing on to here in San Diego, where the plane crashed into this home behind me, creating a huge explosion. I spoke to the family that was inside the home asleep when this happened. They were jolted awake, just a terrifying ordeal. They had neighbors come to help them escape through their backyard. The husband says that he's been in the military for 13 years and doesn't think he'll ever experience anything as scary as this. Authorities are also saying that they're investigating whether potentially the weather was a factor. It was dense, foggy conditions. And according to a source familiar with the investigation, the automated weather system that tells pilots the conditions at the airport was not working at the time. We are learning details now about, sadly, the victims on the plane. The FAA says that 6 people were on board, and officials do not believe there were any survivors. A music group says that 3 of their employees were on the plane, including a music agent, Dave Shapiro. And it's also believed that the drummer of a band, or formerly of the band, The Devil Wears Prada, was sadly also on the flight. We expect an update later today from the NTSB. They'll be here investigating through the day. Back to you.
Again, that was Liz Kreutz reporting for us from NBC News.